Well, listening to that is Dr. Aziz from Keighley. He is a disaster response coordinator for Humanity First and has been coordinating the international programme from here in the UK. He's already sent out a team to Nepal that includes paramedics, surgeons, firemen, doctors and logistics. And Dr. Aziz joins me now in the studio. Thank you so much for coming in, Dr. Aziz. I know you're really tired out because you've been so busy, but you've taken some time out to join us here.
Hi, well, thanks very much. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, you heard that report. People desperate for urgent help. How do you begin to deal with a disaster of this magnitude?
These things are always very difficult, and however, we're quite grateful. The United Nations has got an international tried and tested setup throughout disasters in the world, and they, in conjunction with the countries on the ground, they have an excellent system of coordination and trying to coordinate all NGOs, such as Humanity First ourselves. However, because of the overwhelming nature of the disaster and of the country that we're in, so the things that you've just heard, these happen despite the best will in the world of the UN, the Nepalese government, and NGOs, including ourselves. It becomes a logistical nightmare, unfortunately, and it's not through lack of efforts. There's a gridlock because of the lack of road network, transport, getting things across. It's all well and good having the aid, but then if the road network is not working, how do you get it across? You're in a mountainous region. We've been quite fortunate that we're working under our partners called the Amdia Sangh Nepal, which is the Amdia community in Nepal, and because they're based on the ground, they know the area, they know the locality, so we've been very lucky that they know the terrain, they can get us to the locations where we need to. So we've been quite fortunate from that point of view.
Now, listening to that report, as is always the case, I suppose, maybe I'm wrong, and you're in a better position to tell me, that quite often when these disasters happen, the first people to get that help are the cities, are the places that are easy to get to. And having said that, they are probably also the people that would have the most resources there anyway because of the network that they had before the disaster hit. And the ones that get forgotten are these people in the areas that are hard to reach even before the disaster. So
I understand exactly what you're saying. And
what happens? I mean,
I mean, we had a similar, although you cannot compare, but we had a similar situation here in the UK with the floods that we were involved with in Somerset. And the villages that it's not that people get ignored, it's natural when there is an element of disaster in the capital, because that's where the resources are. By the time you're just clearing that up, you have to do a step-by-step process. So it's not that the rest are forgotten. It's just as you filter down, the structures don't work, the road network, the transport. So I would, again, I'm not privy to the finer details between the government and the UN, but we can see on the ground that people are working flat out. We can see on the ground the Nepalese army is doing a fantastic job. The United Nations are literally working flat out to try to resolve these logistical problems that are dogging the situation.
I mean, Nepalese government are desperately asking for more helicopters, aren't they, to reach those hard-to-place areas, those areas that you just can't get to by foot.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like it doesn't matter how many they have, it's not going to be enough.
And it never is enough, anywhere in the world. You yourself have had experience in Indonesia. You can see it never is enough. If you had a disaster in the first world, it's a different story. We've got huge armies, huge resources. Even then, we're challenged. I mean, Somerset, the challenges that we had.
Yeah.
So you can imagine those are multiplied in the third world.
Now, you have got a group of people that have already been sent out to Nepal. Tell me about that. And they're all volunteers.
They're all volunteers. They're all unpaid volunteers. Doctors, paramedics, firemen, paediatricians, logistical support, pharmacists. And they volunteer for Humanity First purely on a humanitarian basis. They take time off from work, unpaid leave. They take their annual leave to actually take part in these trips, and there's individuals in this team that have taken unpaid leave for the fortnight, and they're part of our medical response team. So within the first few hours, first 2-3 days, you need to get there quickly with your medical teams. And the first UK team, the sort of rescue team, was the Serve On team. It's another charity in the UK. We were one of the third British teams that were out there.
Okay.
So they have gone out. They've been appointed by the government and the UN to a district called Gorkha, which is northwest of Kathmandu, which is pretty much the epicenter of the quake. And there they're providing medical help, a lot of primary care facilities. Obviously, the structures have collapsed there.
Yes.
So I mean, up to about an hour or two ago, my last report, there's about 250 plus patients that they've treated just in the last sort of 36 hours.
Right. Now, as I say, you've already got a team of all sort of volunteers out there. Have you heard from them? What are they actually saying themselves in terms of the conditions there? And
I mean, we were in communication quite regularly. Obviously, they have to stand on one leg to get the phone call to work. The conditions are pretty dire.
Yeah.
Conditions are pretty dire. Clearly in Kathmandu things are difficult, but there's a lot of resource now in Kathmandu because it's urban. But in the rural areas where they're based, people have got sort of mud houses, stone houses that are not going to withstand an earthquake of this magnitude. And the little that they have, they lose. And getting access to them in the best of conditions is difficult enough in an earthquake situation, so you can understand why people may feel frustrated.
And like I said before, it is because it's rural areas, but it's not that it's just rural; it's mountainous areas, and the weather and temperature's not great, is it? Because I remember having been to Swat some years ago, very north of Pakistan, which is a similar sort of. Mountainous area. In that during the day, beautiful weather, you walk around with a cardi on, but come night time, I remember the temperatures plummeting to minus 20.
It can be and you see a lot of that in mountainous regions. It's about 30 degrees there.
Yes.
We're quite lucky because the partner on the ground that we're working with that's doing a lot of the relief work on our behalf, the Amdia Sang Nepal, they know the area, so they've been very good at helping set up camp in terms of food arrangements, in terms of knowing the locations to get to and how they get to them. We've not been completely blind. Sometimes as an international NGO, when you land on the ground, there is an amount of due diligence that you can do and the UN can do, but you can't beat local people that know the local language, that are on the ground and know the ways in and out to get to places.
The quick routes. Now, in terms of the relief efforts that you have already established, what is it that you are wanting from people here to try and help you move things along?
Number of things. The first and the most important in our eyes that we need from people is their thoughts and their prayers and their best wishes for the people of Nepal and for all the NGOs, not just us, that they are helped in their tasks. Secondly, specifics, we need people to donate. We need people to donate, whether they donate to us, whether they donate to other NGOs, they donate to some NGO that is actually going to do some work. Whether it's us, whether it's somebody else, that will not go to waste. That will not go to waste. Yes, we are a small part of this operation. So I would ask sincerely that whichever organisation that they come into contact with, there are lots of charities on the ground. Obviously there's ourselves, there's Humanity First.
So are you looking for sort of financial donations, or are you happy to have financial and material goods as well, like blankets and that? I don't know.
This is an issue of material goods, which is why I have not mentioned it. The reason I've not mentioned it, you may well have seen in the press, that there's a logistical gridlock at the moment in Kathmandu with getting aid out. There's varying reasons for that. Aid is getting there. The problem is it's a small airport, it's a small country, and there are huge sort of cargo planes that are landing there. Now they need to be placed somewhere. The airport is getting hugely congested. The UN is trying to create areas. I mean, landing there is becoming a problem. There have been teams that have had to be turned back to land in Delhi and then fly again. Even our team, when we were landing, the plane was put in a holding pattern for a fair while before it was permitted to land. So there's a safety issue, there's a logistical issue. So even now, we are working with the Rotary Club in Bath, who provide water boxes, water survival boxes.
Okay.
So we partner with them to deliver those to disaster areas. We are still on hold about sending those through because we're ready to send. We can't send until the avenues of clearing them through the airport are clear. Otherwise, you've got people's hard-earned efforts to want to give sat in a warehouse, and that's the last thing anybody wants.
Yes.
So ourselves and others are trying their best to try to open channels to get through.
And I suppose in terms of material goods, you're wanting that because I suppose there aren't the resources out there to purchase those things that you need.
No, they're not. There's not the resources out there to purchase things, but in some cases, yes, there are. India, neighbouring country, there's a lot of resource that you can purchase from there, and I know the Indians have been doing a fantastic effort in terms of
and
trying.
I've heard that they've sent a lot of helicopters.
A lot of helicopters, army, and that's a fantastic thing that you would expect from a next door neighbour. So they've been extremely helpful. So in terms of material goods, sometimes it becomes more economical to purchase them locally.
To put money back into their economy.
Indeed, you want to get more for your pound. So for example, with us, with manpower, our logistical manpower on the ground is coming from our partner, the Amdia community in Nepal, who know the area, so they are providing the food relief efforts, the water, the sanitation, rebuilding, and we'll be assisting them in that.
Okay. Well, just for everybody listening today, if they're wanting to donate, they're wanting to help, how can they do that, Kamal?
Aziz.
Sorry, I've got Kamal in my head.
Kamal is our coordinator on the ground.
Yes. Aziz, Dr. Aziz.
So they can donate on our website,
yes,
humanityfirst.org, and on there you'll see the Nepal. You can follow us on Twitter at humanityfirst UK, and on there you will see the link to our donation site. Just giving allows you to get far more because of the gift aid.
Okay. Do you have the website?
I do. It's humanityfirst.org, and that should take you straight there.
Okay.
Well, make sure I've got that correct. www.uk.humanityfirst.org. That should take you straight there. It's terrible, I don't know.
Well, we'll get that tweeted out for you. Shahid will tweet that out for you, so people can get access to that.
And can I just say a huge thank you to the members of the public that have contributed, and the employers that have let all our members to actually go out there and work.
It all helps, doesn't it?
Every single person. So there's so many people to be thanked. There's a countless list. It's not just the team that's on the ground.
Yes. Dr. Aziz, thank you so much for coming in. I know you're really busy and you've working tirelessly to get aid out there, so I do appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you.
There you are, Dr. Aziz from Keighley, who is coordinating a relief aid to Nepal to help the victims there, the survivors there, of the 7.8 magnitude earthquake that took place in Nepal.